Jack Miller wiped the sweat from his forehead as he carefully brushed dirt away from what looked like metal. The orange sun of Proxima b beat down on the excavation site. 6 weeks into the expedition, and this was their first major find. Lisa. "I think I've found something," he called out, his voice echoing across the dig site. Dr. Lisa Wright made her way over, her blonde hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. Despite their breakup 3 months ago, they still worked well together professionally. She knelt beside him and examined his discovery. "Careful with that brush. We don't know what it is yet," she said. Her voice stern but curious. As more dirt was cleared away, they revealed what appeared to be a chest plate of some kind. Unlike anything they had seen before, the material seemed to shift colors slightly, under the sunlight displaying a pattern that reminded Jack of circuit boards but far more complex. "This isn't like the stone tools we've been finding," Jack said. "This civilization was far more advanced than we thought." Lisa nodded, then frowned as her scanner began to beep rapidly. "I'm getting strange energy readings from it. We need to follow protocol. No touching until we've run proper tests." The rest of the team gathered around as more of the artifact was uncovered. What they found was a complete set of armor, helmet, chest plate, arm guards, and leg protection, all made of the same strange, shimmering material. It appeared to be sized for a humanoid form, though taller than an average human. "It's incredible," said Dr. Alan Reeves, the expedition's medical officer. "It looks almost new, despite being buried for what must be thousands of years." Lisa's scanner continued to show unusual readings. "Whatever this is, it's not just metal, it's reacting to our presence somehow. The energy patterns change when we move closer." She turned to Jack with a serious expression. "No one touches this until we have containment equipment set up. Especially you, Jack. I know how you get around new discoveries." Jack raised his hands defensively. "Hey, I've learned my lesson after the incident on Mars." "Have you?" Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Because I remember saying the same thing on Europa, and you still touched that ice formation." "And I only got minor frostbite," Jack said with a grin. Lisa wasn't amused. "This is different. These readings aren't like anything in our database. We're calling in the containment team, and that's final." The team carefully documented the find, taking numerous photos and scans. As the sun began to set, they covered the site with a protective field and returned to their base camp half a mile away. But all through dinner, Jack couldn't stop thinking about the armor. Later that night, as the base grew quiet, Jack lay in his bed staring at the ceiling. The images of the armor kept flashing in his mind. Something about it called to him in a way he couldn't explain. He tried to sleep but found himself getting up and putting on his boots instead. "Just one more look," he told himself. "I won't touch anything." The twin moons of Proxima b provided enough light for him to make his way back to the dig site. He disabled the basic security field as the team's second in command. He had the codes and pulled back the protective covering. In the moonlight, the armor seemed even more remarkable. The surface rippled slightly, like liquid metal, and the circuit-like patterns glowed with a faint blue light. "What are you?" Jack whispered, crouching down next to it. He activated his personal scanner, recording the energy patterns. As he leaned closer, the glow intensified. The armor seemed to be responding to him specifically, despite Lisa's warning. Despite years of training that told him not to, Jack reached out his hand. Something deep inside him needed to make contact with this ancient technology. "Just a quick touch," he said to himself. His fingertips brushed against the chest plate. Instantly, the material liquefied, becoming like mercury. Before Jack could pull away, it flowed up his fingers, spreading across his hand. "No, no, no!" Jack tried to shake it off, but the strange metal continued to flow up his arm, moving with purpose. He fell backward, scrambling in panic as the liquid metal spread across his chest and down his other arm. It wasn't painful yet, but he could feel it, cool and somehow alive, pulsing as it moved. "Help!" he shouted, but the base was too far away for anyone to hear. The material continued to spread, covering his entire body within seconds. Jack tried to run, but fell to his knees as the substance reached his face. As it covered his eyes, he expected darkness. Instead, his vision enhanced, the night becoming as clear as day, with information about his surroundings appearing in his field of view. Then the pain began. It felt like every cell in his body was being torn apart and reassembled. Jack screamed, his voice echoing across the empty dig site as he collapsed onto the ground. The agony was unlike anything he had ever experienced, as if his DNA itself was being rewritten. Images flashed through his mind, a massive war among the stars, strange beings in armor like this one, fighting against shadowy creatures that devoured light itself. He saw worlds burning, civilizations falling, and finally a last stand on this very planet. As suddenly as it began, the pain stopped. Jack lay gasping on the ground, feeling fundamentally changed. The liquid metal had disappeared, seemingly absorbed into his skin. But he could see faint metallic patterns just beneath the surface, following his veins, tracing patterns across his body. He struggled to his feet, feeling simultaneously stronger and disoriented. His senses were heightened. He could hear the small nocturnal creatures moving in the distance, smell the mineral composition of the soil beneath him. "What have I done?" he whispered, looking down at his arms. The patterns glowed faintly when he focused on them, then faded back to looking like slightly metallic tattoos when he relaxed. Something moved in his mind. Not his own thoughts, but something else. A presence, ancient, powerful, awakening after millennia of dormancy. The world spun around him as information flooded his consciousness. Too much, too fast. Jack stumbled, then fell forward as darkness claimed him. He woke briefly while being carried on a stretcher, Lisa's worried face above him. "You idiot," she was saying, though her voice sounded distant. "I told you to stay away from it." "It's inside me," Jack managed to say before unconsciousness took him again. In his dreams, he soared between stars, fought in ancient wars, and heard a voice speaking in a language he somehow understood despite never having heard it before. "Guardian protocol initiated," the voice said. "Symbiosis at 40% and rising, preparing host for transformation." When Jack finally awoke in the expedition's medical bay, 3 days had passed, and nothing would ever be the same again. Jack opened his eyes to the bright lights of the medical bay. His whole body felt strange, lighter yet stronger. He tried to sit up and was surprised by how easily he moved. "Easy there," Dr. Alan Reeves said, gently pushing him back down. "You've been unconscious for 3 days." Lisa stood at the foot of the bed, arms crossed, her face a mix of worry and anger. "What were you thinking, Jack?" "I specifically told you not to touch that armor." I know, Jack said. His voice sounded normal, but he could feel something different inside him. A presence, watching and learning. "What happened to me? The armor ... Alan picked up a tablet and showed Jack a scan of his body. Strange metallic lines ran through his system, following his veins and nervous system. "Not gone," Alan said. "It's inside you. The material has somehow bonded with your cellular structure at a molecular level. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Lisa stepped closer. "We've run every test we can think of. The armor wasn't just technology, it's partly organic, designed to bond with a host. And for some reason it chose you." Jack looked down at his arms. When he concentrated, he could see faint metallic patterns just beneath his skin. "Can you remove it?" Alan and Lisa exchanged looks. "No," Alan said finally. "The integration is too complete. Attempting removal would ... quote, he paused. "Kill me?" Jack finished. Alan nodded grimly. Jack closed his eyes, trying to process this information. As he did, he felt the presence in his mind stir, becoming more distinct, not threatening, but curious. Examining him as much as he was trying to examine it. "There's something else," he said, opening his eyes. "I can feel it, in my mind. Like, it's watching me." Lisa leaned forward, suddenly interested. "An intelligence? The armor has its own consciousness?" Before Jack could answer, Alan's tablet beeped. He looked down at it, eyes widening. "Your vital signs just ... improved. Heart rate optimized, brain activity increased, cellular regeneration accelerated. It's like your body is being upgraded in real time." Jack suddenly felt restless. He sat up again and swung his legs over the side of the bed. "I need to move." "You should rest," Alan protested, but Jack was already standing. The feeling was incredible. Every muscle responded perfectly. He felt balanced, strong, aware of every part of his body in a way he never had been before. "This is amazing," he said, flexing his hands. "I feel like I could run a marathon." "Jack, we need to be careful here," Lisa said. "We don't know what this technology is doing to you." As if triggered by her words, Jack suddenly saw a flash of memory that wasn't his own, a battlefield on a distant world. Warriors in shimmering armor fighting against shadowy creatures. The vision was so vivid he gasped and stumbled. Lisa caught his arm. "What is it? What happened?" "A memory," Jack said, blinking as the vision faded. "But not mine. I saw a war. The beings who made this armor, they were fighting something terrible." Alan helped Jack back to the bed. "Your brain chemistry is changing." "These could be hallucinations." "No," Jack said firmly. "They're too real, too detailed." "Their memory stored in the armor somehow," Lisa's communicator beeped. She checked it and frowned. "The United Earth government has been notified about the incident. They're ordering us to return immediately. They want to study the situation." "Study me, you mean?" Jack said. "We don't have a choice," Lisa replied. "The order comes from the highest level." That night, alone in his quarters, Jack examined his changed body. The metallic patterns became more visible when he focused on them. On a hunch, he concentrated on his right arm, mentally calling the armor to the surface. To his amazement, the metallic pattern flowed outward, covering his skin with a sleek, slightly iridescent material. It didn't feel like wearing something, it felt like an extension of himself. "Incredible," he whispered. He tried the same with his other arm, then his chest. Soon his entire body was covered in the strange material. It was lightweight, but somehow he knew it was incredibly strong. A helmet formed around his head, and suddenly his vision enhanced dramatically. He could see in the dark, zoom in on distant objects, and data about his surroundings appeared in his field of view. Jack looked at his reflection in the mirror. The armor made him look alien, powerful. Nothing like the archaeologist who had arrived on this planet 6 weeks ago. "What are you?" he asked quietly. To his shock, words appeared in his vision. "Guardian protocol active. Symbiosis at 62% and rising. I am Sentinel." Jack stumbled back in surprise. "You can communicate?" "Yes, integration has reached sufficient level for basic communication." "What are you? Why did you choose me?" "I am combat and survival system created by the Guardians." "You possess compatible genetic markers. You were chosen." Before Jack could ask more questions, an alarm blared throughout the base. The floor beneath him shook. Jack rushed outside to see the night sky lit up with energy beams. The planet's long dormant defense system had activated, targeting their base with precision strikes. "Everyone to the emergency bunker," Lisa shouted. Directing the panicked team members, she stopped when she saw Jack in his armored form. "Jack, is that you?" Another energy beam struck nearby, throwing them both to the ground. Jack found himself moving with impossible speed, catching Lisa before she hit the ground and shielding her with his armored body. The beam that would have killed them both hit him directly. He felt the impact, but the armor absorbed the energy, with only minimal discomfort. "How did you do that?" Lisa asked, staring at him in amazement. "I don't know," Jack admitted. "It's like the armor knows what to do before I do." More defense turrets emerged from the ground around the excavation site, all targeting Jack specifically. "They're after you," Lisa realized. "The planet's defense system sees the armor as a threat. Or recognizes it," Jack said as more knowledge flooded into his consciousness. "This planet was a Guardian outpost. The defense system is responding to the activation of Guardian technology." "How do you know that?" "The armor, Sentinel, is sharing information with me." Another barrage of energy beams headed toward them. Jack raised his hand instinctively, and a shield of energy formed, deflecting the attacks. "We need to get to the ship," Lisa said. "We can't stay here." Jack nodded, feeling the armor respond to his thoughts. "I can get us there. Trust me." He picked up Lisa and began running toward their landing site, moving faster than any human should be able to. The defense systems tracked him, but he dodged the attacks with precision. the armor predicting trajectories and guiding his movements. As they reached the ship, Jack knew his life had changed forever. Whatever this armor was, whoever the Guardians had been, he was now part of something much bigger than himself, and somehow he knew this was just the beginning. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During that time, Jack learned more about his new abilities. In the ship's training room, he discovered he could lift over 10 times his body weight. He could run faster, jump higher, and his reflexes were almost too quick to measure. Lisa ran tests daily, fascinated despite her concerns. "Your cellular structure continues to change," she told him, looking at scan results. "The armor isn't just sitting inside you, it's improving you." Jack nodded. He could feel the changes. "Sentinel tells me it's optimizing my biology, making me stronger so I can use more of its capabilities." "And you trust what it tells you?" Lisa asked. "I don't have much choice," Jack replied. "We're connected now." They arrived at Earth to find a military escort waiting for them. Soldiers in heavy armor surrounded their ship as soon as it landed at the Nevada Research Complex. Colonel Samantha Pierce met them at the landing pad. She was tall with short gray hair and cold eyes that immediately focused on Jack. "Mr. Miller," she said without offering her hand, "welcome back to Earth. I'll be overseeing your case." "I'm not a case," Jack said. "I'm still human," Pierce smiled thinly. "That remains to be determined." "Please follow me." They were taken to a massive underground facility. Jack was separated from the others and escorted to a room that looked more like a cell than a medical suite. Glass walls allowed observers to watch him from every angle. "You'll stay here while we conduct our tests," Pierce informed him. "For how long?" Jack asked. "As long as necessary." The tests began immediately. Scientists in protective suits took samples of his blood, skin, and hair. They ran scans, tested his strength and reflexes, and subjected him to various stimuli to see how the armor would respond. When one test involved an electrical shock, the armor automatically emerged to protect him, covering his body in seconds. "Fascinating," said one scientist, making notes. "The system has a self-preservation protocol." "His self-preservation," Jack corrected angrily. "I'm still a person." The scientists ignored him and continued their tests. Days turned into weeks. Jack was allowed limited contact with Lisa, who was conducting her own research in another part of the facility. During one of their meetings, she looked worried. "They're treating you like a weapon, not a patient," she said. "I've been trying to advocate for you, but Pierce has a lot of influence." "What have you learned about the armor?" Jack asked. Lisa glanced around, then lowered her voice. "It's older than we thought." "Much older. Based on the data we recovered from Proxima b, the Guardian civilization existed over 1,000,000 years ago." Jack wasn't surprised. The memories he had been experiencing showed him glimpses of an ancient, powerful civilization that had spread across many worlds. "There's more," Lisa continued. "The Guardians weren't just explorers. They were protectors. They fought against something they called the Void Eaters, a hostile species that consumed entire planets." Jack felt Sentinel stir in his mind at the mention of Void Eaters. A wave of information flooded his consciousness, images of shadowy creatures that seemed to bend reality around them, consuming light and life. "Sentinel is reacting to what you're saying," Jack told her. I think the Void Eaters aren't just some ancient threat." "Sentinel believes they're still out?" "They're dormant like the Guardians were." Lisa's eyes widened. "We need to tell someone about this. Someone who will listen, not Pierce," Jack said firmly. "No, not Pierce." Lisa agreed. Later that night, alone in his room, Jack communicated directly with Sentinel. He had learned that by entering a meditative state, he could access the armor's knowledge more clearly. "Why did you choose me?" he asked in his mind. "Genetic compatibility," Sentinel replied. "Your species carries traces of Guardian genetic material. You, specifically, have a higher concentration of compatible markers. Are humans related to Guardians?" "Not directly. But Guardians seeded many worlds with their genetic material before their civilization fell. Your species evolved with those markers dormant in your DNA." Jack processed this information. These void eaters. Are they really still out there? Yes, they do not die as your kind understands death. They enter dormancy when there is no energy to consume. Your activation of this unit has sent a signal. They will begin to awaken. A chill ran down Jack's spine. And they'll come here, to Earth, eventually. The signal is strongest at the point of activation, so I've put my planet in danger. Your planet was always in danger. Now it has a defender. The next day, Jack was scheduled for more invasive tests. He overheard two scientists discussing the procedure. Colonel Pierce has authorized the extraction attempt, one said. Even though it could kill the subject? Asked the other. The technology is too valuable. If we can separate it from him, we can replicate it. Jack felt cold fear, followed by a surge of anger. The armor responded to his emotions, partially emerging to cover his hands with metallic gauntlets. He forced it back beneath his skin before the scientists noticed. That evening, Lisa came to see him, her face pale with worry. They're planning to operate tomorrow, she said quickly. Pierce has convinced the Oversight Committee that the armor can be removed safely, but I've seen the procedure they're planning. It will kill you, Jack. I need to get out of here, Jack said. Lisa nodded. I have a friend, Dr. Olivia Bennett. She's a civilian xenobiologist who can help us understand more about the armor without treating you like a lab rat. I've contacted her. How do we get past security? Jack asked. Lisa held up a key card. I still have clearance from the expedition, and there's a shift change at midnight. Security will be minimal. At midnight, Jack was ready. When Lisa opened his door, he immediately activated the armor, covering himself completely. Together, they moved through the facility, avoiding the main corridors. An alarm sounded as they reached the vehicle bay. Armed guards appeared, weapons raised. Stop or we'll fire. One shouted. Jack stepped in front of Lisa, the armor protecting them both. We don't want to hurt anyone, he said. We're leaving. The guards opened fire. The bullets hit Jack's armored form and fell harmlessly to the floor. Sentinel was feeding him combat information, showing him how to incapacitate the guards without killing them. With speed and precision, Jack moved through the group of guards, disarming them one by one. The armor enhanced his strength and reflexes beyond human capability, making the trained soldiers seem to move in slow motion when all the guards were unconscious. Jack and Lisa took a military jeep and drove away from the facility. They'll come after us, Lisa said as they sped into the desert night. Let them try, Jack replied, feeling the armor pulse with energy. For the first time since bonding with Sentinel, he didn't feel afraid of what he was becoming. Whatever happened next, he would face it on his own terms, not as someone's lab experiment. As they drove toward the safety of Dr. Bennett's remote laboratory, Jack sensed something at the edge of his awareness, a distant stirring, like something ancient awakening from a long sleep. The Void Eaters had heard Sentinel's call, and they were coming. Dr. Olivia Bennett's laboratory was hidden in the mountains of Colorado. The small, unmarked building looked more like a cabin than a research facility. Lisa drove the jeep up the narrow dirt road and parked behind the structure. Are you sure? We can trust her, Jack asked, letting the armor retreat beneath his skin. She's been my friend since college, Lisa said. And she hates the military's approach to alien technology as much as we do. A tall woman with curly red hair opened the door before they could knock. You made it, she said, quickly ushering them inside. I've been watching the news. You two are all over it. She led them to a living room with large windows overlooking the mountains. The walls were covered with diagrams and photos of various alien artifacts. Dr. Olivia Bennett, she introduced herself to Jack. And you must be the man with the alien armor. Jack Miller, he replied, shaking her hand. Lisa's told me about your situation, Olivia said. I want to help, but first I need to understand what we're dealing with. Over the next few days, Olivia ran her own tests on Jack and the armor, but her approach was different from the military scientists. She treated Jack like a person, not a specimen, and seemed genuinely excited about the armor's capabilities. The integration is remarkable, she said, examining scan results. The armor isn't just attached to you, it's evolving with you, creating something new. Can you help me control it better? Jack asked. Olivia nodded. I think so. From what? I can tell the armor responds to your thoughts and emotions. The more in tune you are with it, the better you can control its abilities. They began training sessions where Jack practiced calling forth different aspects of the armor. He learned to create shields, enhance specific muscles, and even extend blade-like weapons from his arms. Sentinel says these are just basic functions, Jack told the women after one session. The armor has capabilities I can't access yet because my body isn't ready. Like what? Lisa asked. Flight? Advanced weapons systems? Even limited space travel? Lisa and Olivia exchanged looks of amazement. Jack, Lisa said carefully, if what Sentinel has told you about the Void Eaters is true, humanity needs to prepare. We need to warn people. Who would believe us? Jack asked. We're fugitives. The government would just lock us up again. Not. If we have proof, Olivia suggested. Evidence that can't be ignored. Before they could discuss further, Olivia's security system beeped. She checked the monitors and frowned. Military vehicles coming up the road. How did they find us so quickly? Jack felt Sentinel stirring in his mind. It's not just the military we need to worry about, he said, looking up at the sky through the windows. Something's coming. If on cue, the ground began to shake. Outside, the sky darkened as a massive shadow passed overhead. It wasn't a cloud, it was a ship, unlike anything human technology could create. Its surface seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Void Eater scout vessel, Sentinel's voice echoed in Jack's mind. It has detected this unit's energy. Signature. We need to leave now, Jack said urgently. The armor already flowing over his body in response to the threat, they rushed outside to Olivia's truck. In the distance, military vehicles were approaching, but everyone's attention was on the alien ship hovering above them. A beam of dark energy shot down from the vessel, striking the ground near them and leaving a smoking crater. The military. Vehicles screeched to a halt at the site. They're scanning for Sentinel, Jack explained, feeling the armor feeding him information. I need to draw them away from you two. What are you going to do? Lisa asked, grabbing his arm. What the Guardians were made to do, Jack replied. Fight. The armor completely covered him now, more solid and powerful than before. Sentinel was directing more energy to its combat systems, preparing for battle. Get to safety, Jack told Lisa and Olivia. Then he looked at the approaching military vehicles. Tell them what's happening. Make them understand this is just the beginning. Jack focused on the power he felt building inside him. The armor responded, generating propulsion from his back and legs. He shot into the air, flying directly toward the alien vessel. The ship immediately tracked him, firing more. Beams of dark energy. Jack dodged them with increasing skill as Sentinel guided his movements. The armor was teaching him how to fight as they went. How do I damage it? Jack asked Sentinel mentally. Direct energy attacks at the propulsion nodes, came the reply. Along with highlighted targets in his vision. Jack extended his arm, and the armor transformed it into a weapon, a pulsing cannon of energy. He fired at the first node, striking it directly. The ship shuddered visibly. Below, Colonel Pierce had arrived with her forces. They watched in amazement as Jack battled the alien vessel. What the hell is that thing? Pierce demanded, looking at Lisa, who had approached under Olivia's guidance. It's what Jack was trying to warn you about, Lisa explained quickly. They're called Void Eaters, ancient enemies of the civilization that created the armor Jack wears. And Miller is fighting it alone? He doesn't have a choice, Lisa said. The armor chose him for a reason. Above them, the battle intensified. Jack had damaged 2 of the ship's propulsion nodes, but it was adapting to his attacks. A dark tendril of energy snaked out from the vessel, wrapping around him and beginning to squeeze. Jack felt the armor struggling against the energy. It was draining Sentinel's power, trying to break through to him. Divert all power to outer shielding, Jack commanded, and felt the armor comply. The drain slowed, but he was still trapped. In desperation, Jack reached deeper into his connection with Sentinel. There had to be more he could do. He felt something, a reservoir of power he hadn't accessed before. Emergency protocols available, Sentinel informed him. Warning, accelerated integration will have permanent effects on host physiology. Do it, Jack decided instantly. Energy surged through him, painful but empowering. The armor glowed brighter, breaking free from the tendril. Jack felt his body changing, becoming more like the Guardians who had created the armor. With newfound strength, he generated a massive pulse of energy that struck the Void Eater ship at its core. The vessel shuddered, then began to break apart, but before it was completely destroyed, it sent a transmission, a signal beaming out into deep space. Jack knew what it meant. It called for reinforcements, he said as he landed back on the ground in front of the astonished military personnel. Colonel Pierce approached him cautiously. "Miller, is that you in there?" The armor retracted from his face so they could see him. His eyes now had a slight metallic sheen to them, and faint circuit-like patterns were visible on his skin. "It's me," he confirmed. "And we have a problem." "That was just a scout? There are more coming, a lot more?" "Why should we believe you?" Pierce demanded. In answer, Jack gestured to the sky where the remains of the alien vessel were visible. "Because the evidence is right there. Earth is in danger, Colonel. The question is, are you going to keep treating me like the enemy, or are you ready to work together?" Pierce looked at the sky, then back at Jack. For the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. "What do you need from us?" she asked. 3 months passed. The world governments united in preparation for the coming threat. Jack became the leader of a new division called the Guardian Corps, with Lisa and Olivia heading the scientific team. Colonel Pierce, now General Pierce, coordinated global defense strategies. "The Void Eater fleet will arrive in orbit within 2 days," Jack announced during a meeting at the United Earth Defense Headquarters. His appearance had changed significantly. The metallic patterns on his skin were now permanent, and his eyes glowed slightly with an inner light. "How many ships?" General Pierce asked. "Sentinel estimates at least 50, Jack replied. "Each one is 10 times the size of the scout we encountered." The room fell silent as the magnitude of the threat sank in. "What about the other sites?" Lisa asked. "Have we found more armor?" After learning about the Guardians, expeditions had been sent to ancient archaeological sites around the world and on colony planets. They discovered more Guardian technology, including several suits of armor similar to Sentinel. "We found 7 more compatible humans," Jack said. "They're training now, but their integration is nowhere near complete. They have basic abilities, but nothing like what I can do." No one else had bonded as completely with the Guardian technology as Jack. His transformation continued daily, guided by Sentinel. He was becoming something beyond human, a bridge between humanity and the Guardians. "Our planetary defenses are as ready as they'll ever be," General Pierce said. "But against this kind of technology, I don't know if it will be enough," Jack nodded. "It won't be. The Void Eaters don't just destroy planets. They consume them, along with all life. Our conventional weapons might slow them down, but they won't stop them. Then what will?" Asked Olivia. Jack had been asking Sentinel the same question for weeks. The answer always came back the same: complete integration. He hadn't told the others what this meant. The final stage of bonding with Sentinel would transform him permanently. He would protect Earth, but he would no longer be human. Lisa watched him carefully. She knew him well enough to see he was hiding something. That night she found him standing alone on the roof of the headquarters, looking up at the stars. "You're planning something," she said, joining him. "Something you haven't told the rest of us," Jack sighed. "Sentinel has shown me what needs to be done. There's a final capability of the armor, something the Guardians used only in the most desperate situations." "What is it?" "A planetary shield. Energy that can surround an entire world, protecting it from the Void Eaters." Lisa's eyes widened. "That's incredible. Why haven't you told everyone?" "Because there's a cost," Jack said quietly. "The amount of energy required... It would complete my transformation. I wouldn't be human anymore." "What would you be?" "Something new. A Guardian, but not like the originals." Something between human and guardian. Lisa took his hand. The metallic patterns felt warm against her skin. Is there no other way? She asked. Jack shook his head. The other armor-bearers aren't ready, and even all of us together couldn't generate enough power without reaching full integration. Lisa's eyes filled with tears. I just found you again. I don't want to lose you. Jack turned to her. You won't lose me. I'll still be here, protecting Earth, just ... different. Before she could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They rushed inside to the command center. They're early, General Pierce said as they entered. The Void Eater fleet just appeared in orbit. On the main screen, dozens of massive ships darkened Earth's orbit. They were like living shadows against the stars, absorbing light around them. Old defense systems online, an officer reported. Orbital platforms targeting enemy vessels. Earth's defenses opened fire. Beams of energy and missiles struck the alien ships but seemed to do little damage. They're launching attack craft, another officer called out. Thousands of them heading for major cities. Deploy the Guardian Corps, Jack ordered. His 7 trainees, each wearing their own armor, moved to their launch positions. Jack, Lisa said urgently, if you're going to do what you mentioned, now is the time. He nodded. Keep everyone safe. I need to get high enough into the atmosphere. The armor flowed over him completely as he headed for the launch bay. Lisa followed. I'm coming with you part of the way, she said, climbing into a fighter jet. I'll get you as high as this thing can go. They launched into the chaotic sky. Void Eater ships were everywhere, their dark energy weapons cutting through Earth's aircraft like paper. Lisa piloted with incredible skill, dodging attacks as they climbed. Higher. This is as far as I can take you, she said when they reached the upper atmosphere. The engines can't go higher. Jack opened the cockpit. Go back to the base, help coordinate the defense. Jack, Lisa said, catching his arm, will I see you again? One way or another, he promised. He launched himself from the aircraft, using the armor's propulsion to continue upward. Below him, Earth looked small and vulnerable. Above, the Void Eater fleet blocked out the stars. Sentinel, Jack said as he reached the edge of space. Initiate final integration. Warning, process irreversible. Human form will be transcended. I understand. Do it. Pain unlike anything he had ever felt coursed through his body. Every cell transformed as the armor fully merged with him. His consciousness expanded, connecting with the ancient Guardian network that had lain dormant across the galaxy for millennia. He was no longer just Jack Miller. He was something more, the first of a new Guardian race, born from the union of human and ancient technology. With his new awareness, Jack extended his hands toward Earth. Energy flowed from him in waves, spreading outward to form a massive shield around the planet. The Void Eater weapons struck the barrier and dissipated. The aliens concentrated their attack on Jack, recognizing him as the source of the shield. Dark energy beams struck him from all directions, but he absorbed them, growing stronger. You cannot have this world, Jack's voice boomed across space, heard in the minds of both humans and Void Eaters. Humanity is under my protection now. He released a pulse of pure Guardian energy that tore through the alien fleet. Ships crumbled into dust as the light touched them. The remaining vessels retreated, jumping away into deep space. On Earth, people watched in awe as the sky filled with light, then cleared to reveal the stars once more. The Void Eaters were gone. In the command center, a new signal appeared on the communications system. It's Jack, Lisa said, activating the channel. The being that appeared on screen resembled Jack, but transformed. His body glowed with inner light, and his eyes held the wisdom of 2 civilizations. The immediate threat has passed, he said, his voice resonating strangely. But they will return with greater numbers. Earth must prepare. Jack, Lisa asked, are you still you? He smiled, and for a moment she saw the archaeologist she had fallen in love with. I am Jack Miller. I am Sentinel. I am both and something more. I will watch over Earth and help humanity rise to join the stars. Will you come back to us? General? Pierce asked. I cannot return to what I was, Jack said. I will never abandon humanity. This is just the beginning of a new chapter, for me and for all of you. As the transmission ended, Lisa felt both loss and hope. Jack was gone, but something wonderful had taken his place. Humanity now had a guardian among the stars, watching over them as they took their first steps into a much larger universe. And somewhere in the depths of space, Jack, or what Jack had become, looked back at the small blue planet he had saved and prepared for what was to come.